Shalom Mubaraka, Miss Paka, peace and blessings, family. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Shofar frequency device. We're going to be talking about the ram horn, in Hebrew called the Shofar or the Yabal. We're going to be talking about it in depth. Kadush, 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 Yahuwah Zavud Kadush, Kabadu Malak al Haras, Tadaki Kal Lasau, Salaklana, Naknu Chadaim, Chadaim, Kirishanim. Oh Yahuwah, please give me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to completely and thoroughly explain this to my followers so that they may see the truth of the ram horn and understand exactly why it's important to know. Amen. Hallelujah. A lot of things that we see in scripture, a very lot, has to do with frequencies. But the specific frequency that we're going to be dealing with right here is 420 hertz. 420 hertz is the frequency of a ram's horn. When you have those very long horns, those are not ram's horns. Those are actually Kodu horns, and they have a frequency of 376 hertz. 376 hertz is nowhere near as cool as what I'm going to explain to you guys with 420 hertz. 420 hertz, as we know, is only 12 off from 432 hertz, which, you know, is considered to be the frequency of the universe, as it resonates with the frequency of the earth, which is 8. And it also resonates with every single atom and cell in your body. And when you listen to 432 hertz, you feel happy, you feel good, right? Well, yeah, 432 hertz is known to do that. It actually reduces stress hormones in the body, right? It reduces, cortisol significantly. Now, 420 hertz can do that, but it's not necessarily guaranteed to do that. When you go to 420 hertz, commentaries, you see that a lot of people is like, oh, I don't like this. It makes me feel uneasy. And then, a lot of people say, oh, I do like this. It makes me feel really good. Because 420 hertz is not necessarily gonna be like 432 hertz and make everybody feel good, make everybody's stress levels go down. 420 hertz is like the presence of the Almighty, if we want to be completely honest with you. This is what 420 hertz sounds like. That right there makes some people feel uncomfortable. And also makes some people feel very happy. And it'll also depend and switch up depending on the time a person listens to it. Now, let me tell you exactly what 420 hertz does. 420 hertz resonates with the frequency of the moon. The frequency that the moon gives off is 210 hertz. 210.42 to be exact. And the ram's horn is actually 420.84 to be exact. So it's almost like 421, right? Now, real quick, how do we know that the moon's frequency is 210.42 hertz? Well, normally, you guys know me. I don't believe anything NASA says because they're trying to deceive the world, except for this. In the early 1960s, we know that they quote unquote landed on the moon, right? That's quote unquote. They didn't really land on the moon. And, it was all a stage thing. The moon landing is fake. It is. You cannot stand on the moon. The science contradicts itself because they'll tell you the moon has no electromagnetic field. but somehow it has gravity, right? So the moon has no electromagnetic field, no magnetic core, but somehow the moon has gravity. Okay, that's a contradiction. So you cannot stand on the moon. If you can possibly go to the moon, yes you can, but if you make it there, you will fall off. You won't be able to stand on it. It's just floating in the firmament of heaven. You know what I'm saying? You cannot stand on the moon unless you're standing on the very top. Unless you're standing on the very top of the moon, that's the only way you can be on the moon. Other than that, you're gonna slide and fall off. That's just a fact. You're gonna fall to the earth because the moon has no gravity. So let me tell you what they did in 1969. They said to each other, "Hey, look, we got the whole world believing we went to the moon, but man, clearly we didn't. But, it would be cool for us in the future to go to the moon. But first we gotta see if we can actually go to the moon and stand on the moon and not slide off." So that's what NASA was saying in like 1968, 1969. So in 1969, they shot an object from Earth and it hit the moon. And inside of that object, there was a sensor that had connections to a machine on Earth that measured the seismic waves and the vibrations of the moon after it hit the moon. So when the object shot at a very high speed to the moon and it landed on the moon, the entire moon began to vibrate and ring like a bell for about an hour. And everybody was looking at it, and it was vibrating at 210.42 hertz, which is half of the frequency of a ram's horn. So the ram's horn is just an octave above the vibration of the moon when struck, which is the resonant frequency of the moon. The moon is hollow because in order for something to vibrate, it has to be hollow. Like in order for something to vibrate that long for an hour, it has to have air inside of it. Like take here I have a pure chunk of iron ore, right? Straight out the ground. If I hit it, it's not gonna make a ding. It's not gonna make a ding noise. Why? Because there's no air inside of it. But if you take anything that's like a can, anything, you're gonna hear the bing, because it's got air in there to facilitate the vibration of the molecules and move it all around. We know that, right? So a solid chunk of anything is not gonna sit up there vibrating and sounding like a bell for a whole hour. The moon is hollow. On the inside of the moon, there is air that shows that the moon is indeed a created object. There's something a lot deeper than what we think, right? So it hit the moon, but they realized real quick the moon is thin and there's something on the inside, probably a world in there. Who knows? Angels might live in there. Who knows? And the moon does all type of things, right? The moon is an intensifier. When the moon is full at its highest potential, it will literally change your emotion. If all month you've been feeling sad, then on the full moon you're gonna feel that on the highest level. If all month you've been feeling happy, on the full moon you're gonna feel that on the highest level. Now if you got mental illnesses, sometimes on the full moon you're gonna go crazy. That's why these people are referred to as lunatics. And sometimes people ask them, it must be a full moon whenever somebody's going crazy, right? A lunatic, luna, from the word lunar, meaning moon, because the moon gives off 210.42 hertz, which is an intensifier of all emotion of the body. You understand? So the reason why we blow the trumpet on new moon when that moonlight has finally started to come back, because what we're doing is we are doing a commandment. So the feeling, the emotion, I should say, I don't really know if it's an emotion, but the emotion, I should say, is righteousness. So basically, when you blow this trumpet right next to this moon, under the moon, under that sliver of light, which have just started letting out their frequency, now you have intensified righteousness. And because you have intensified righteousness on the first day of the month, on the full moon, your righteousness will be at its highest peak. If this stuff sounds crazy to you, I want you to actually pay attention to the cycles of the moon, your emotions, your family's emotions, the people around you emotions, and see how it actually is true 100%. The moon, when it comes out, certain animals like certain type of frogs, they get in heat and they start mating, right, because of the moon. So the moon actually emits a frequency that turns up a notch on all kinds of things on Earth. The moon is feminine energy because feminine energy is an energy of change, while masculine energy is an energy of stability. Now you need both stability and instability to make the universe, because the universe is not just completely stability. Do you go outside and only see stable things? No. Things break apart, things fall down, things weather away, right? So there is not this universe that we live in is not a stable universe. It's a stable but unstable universe because of the balance between the masculine and the feminine. The sun does not change its appearance in the sky, but the moon changes every day. It not only does it change shape, but she also changes size in the sky as well as color. The feminine energy is what instables everything. It brings things up to a peak, just like the woman has a cycle, the moon has a cycle. The woman's cycle is 30 days. The moon cycle is 30 days. Now, the moon intensifies the emotional state of the person, because emotion represents feminine energy as well. But what we also have to understand is the moon's frequency is 210. 210 correlates to the emotional state. But 420, which is double that, has a deeper and more profound effect on the spirit itself. So it connects to both the spirit and the emotion. It connects to your spirit to then adjust your emotions. Let me tell you something. This is a fact. Everything Yah does, everything that he created, and everything that he said actually has more purposes than just one. Right? So if I, as a human being, do something, I do it for a reason. But if Yah does something, he does it for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons that are so complex and beyond our understanding. And the moon has its own things that it does. The sun has its own things that it does, other than simply just providing light. Do you guys realize that? However your attitude is on the first day of the month, right? Especially on that night, it's going to continue to magnify all month. And then when it hit that peak in the middle of the month, think I'm lying, try it out, see? Why did we blow the shofar before every battle? Now we see that in Judges chapter 7, there was a war. Their armies were so numerous that no man could count. They had numerous camels and horses and people all around from one side of the horizon to the other. You could not see the end of their troops. And they was so great trying to fight against Israel. And you know, Gideon got his army together. He got a whole bunch of people too to fight these people. And Yah said to Gideon, no, you got too many people. Go to the water and see all the people drinking the water. Whoever laps up the water like a dog, count that person and tell them that they'll fight with you. And then he counted only 300 people. So now he only got 300 people about to fight against this whole assembly of people that cannot even be numbered. But this is showing you that you should always have faith in Yah and never, ever, ever underestimate his abilities. 300, like I said, in the first chapter of Kohanology, these numbers mean something. 300, what does 3 mean? 3 represents humility. He was telling him, hey, look, your strength is going to come from your humility. You don't have to have all these people to flaunt all your armies. Just come looking humble with only 300 people, and that's where your power going to be in. And simply put, that's what y'all is saying. He's saying, don't worry about what they got going on. Trust in me. So with those 300 people, that's just showing prioritize Yah. Understand that his power is greater than you can imagine. Now, anyway, those 300 people that was going to fight against Amalek and Moab, all 300 of them had a trumpet in their hand, and they blew the trumpet. And what happened? What happened when they blew the trumpet? Everybody of Amalek started getting so afraid, because this was in the middle of the night, and they were just hearing 300 people blowing trumpets afar off. They didn't know what the hell was going on. So everybody in Moab and Amalek started getting afraid, and they all started getting so afraid that they all just ran and started slaying each other left and right. Everybody just stabbing and slicing and dicing their own army, because they didn't know where the other army was at. So this 420.84 hertz that is produced from the ram's horn gives a sense of erratic fear to all those who do not have a good spirit. If you're trying to fight against the armies of Israel, clearly you don't have a good spirit. And these people, these pagans, they did not have a good spirit apparently. And see, that 420 hertz made it into their spirit and came out through their emotions in the form of irrational fear. That showed and exposed that they were already afraid to begin with. Why do you think they got so many? They probably got every single man, every single teenage boy to fight against these people in their whole empire, just to have the chance of defeating us. So of course they was afraid. They was a little afraid, to begin with. And when that 420 hertz started playing, it amplified that fear that they had, and they just started killing each other left and right. What happens in the day of Yah's wrath? The moon be red, right? So the moon will be doing something. I can't really explain that. But the moon will be doing something, and it's gonna do something to people's emotions. The sun is not gonna, shine. You got the moon emitting its frequency. The sun's not. The sun emits a good frequency that makes you happy. The moon, even no matter when, you can go outside and look at the moon. It's beautiful, but it still gives you that eerie feeling sometimes, right? And I just find that interesting, So the frequency of the ram's horn does pretty much the same thing as what the moon does. If you have a certain feeling, it will literally exaggerate that feeling to one of its almost the highest potential point, or maybe the highest potential point. So, that's why I noticed my daughter, whenever she was sad, you know how little baby girls are. She was just in her feelings for no reason. I blew the trumpet on new moon. She crying. She hard down crying now. And every time I would blow the trumpet, she cries even harder. She panics. She freaks out. But today, I blew the trumpet to test it out. And she was just laughing, because she was in a better mood today than last time. Yeah, them trumpets, man, it strikes fear into our enemies when we blow the trumpet before every battle. Why does it strike fear into them? Because they were already afraid to begin with. And their energy is not good. Their spirit is already not good. Their emotions are already not good. right? The reason why they're trying to fight against the armies of Israel anyway is because they're against our God. When you're against our God, your spirit is going to be nasty. It's not going to be good. Anybody who's opposing Yahuwah has a negative spirit. So all these people have a negative spirit. Since their spirit is a very low frequency spirit, 420 hertz is going to make that frequency even lower, to the point where they're going crazy. They're acting erratic. They're showing erratic behavior. They're turning into lunatics. It's kind of like the moon double blast. It is the moon double blast. The moon gives off a quiet frequency, but this horn gives off a loud frequency. First of all, it will raise our testosterone because we have a good spirit. For the armies of Israel who trusted in Yahuwah, that raised their testosterone. Listen to those trumpets. That made them more great, stronger fighters, more valiant men. You understand? It put more hope into their hearts, while our enemies didn't understand it. They didn't understand why they were behaving erratic out of nowhere. This is a ram's horn from, guess what? A bighorn ram from Utah. So this is a North American sheep horn that I blow. And as you can see, it sounds very good. It sounds very nice and rich. Now this, on the other hand, is a Yemenite sheep from Yemen, all the way over there by Saudi Arabia. Let me show you how it sounds. I don't like this shofar, man. So, where do you think these Israelites lived to be able to blow a horn and it's scaring people? It has that nice rich tone that you can find in the American bighorn ram. Now, actually, did you know modern Israel does not have rams that can produce a good sound? So they like to traffic the bighorn ram from North America. For the majority of their horns, they might get a South African ram or a Moroccan ram, but they like to use the bighorn ram when they're about 3 years old, because their horn has the perfect size and shape at 3 years old. When they get too old, the horns get way too big to even make a noise. But like right here in this picture, his horn is too big. But while they're young, they just curve into like a C shape, but they don't make a circle shape. They don't make a closed circle. When their horn makes a closed circle, it's not really gonna make a good sound. When the horn makes a closed circle, it's not really gonna make a good sound. But whenever it's just a C, it's gonna make an amazing sound. And the bighorn ram, about 3 years old as a male, is gonna make a really good sound. And this came from a 3.5-year-old bighorn ram. They polished the end of it really good, and they put boiling water on it, and they straightened it out. It's supposed to curve like this, right? So yeah, I love this shofar. This is my very first shofar, and this one right here is my wife's shofar, and I hate it, because it's a Yemenite sheep. These sheeps don't have good horns. The bighorn ram sheep has the best horns, and they come from North America. So that should already let you know that our land is indeed truly in America, right there. The sizes are completely different. As you see, the Yemenite, they have wider horns for its size. The cavity is a different size from the bighorn ram. You know what I'm saying? It's a different shape. And this is how you can tell if it's a bighorn ram. Bighorn ram's horns always have a rough and a little bit shiny but very rugged outer layer, and it's gonna be a little golden brown and dark, brown to grayish black. It's gonna have those streaks down the middle, And that's how you know it's going to be a bighorn ram. But any other sheep, they're not going to have that rough outer layer like the bighorn ram. They're typically going to be shiny all around. Bighorn ram has a rough, non-shiny, not shiny horn. You understand? So, yeah, this is a superior horn. They like to come to America, shoot down our sheep to make these horns. But luckily, I bought my own sheep horn. You know what I'm saying? And one day I'm gonna own some bighorn rams, and I'm gonna be selling these and making these, and that's gonna be good.